It's a sore subject.
Yeah.
She's the only woman, and she has been the only one still in New York.
Hey, if you got koozies you wanna get rid of, just
Yeah, I was just looking at,
Oh, yeah?
I just went to my 50th reunion. Old
The same
photos
thing
from
is
the Cayman
on, I
Islands.
mean, yeah.
I got a picture of 7
For giveaways and
with
treats.
no hotels on it.
But
Are we expecting the others?
All right.
Well, Holly texted, she's running late.
so we just have to wait
So
till start
if you could whisper.
Well, when did you leave a certain time? You always just leave on?
Okay.
Because I always just my dad on Sunday.
Caregiver duty.
No?
No.
Okay.
it's usually 1 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I do. I go at 1 o'clock on Sundays.
It's pretty hard.
It is.
Right, she's parking.
We might want to do it.
She's sliding in. Hi, Mike. Hey, how's it going collecting folks to go out and do the scalping thing?
Well, we'll see how many show up.
When is it scheduled for?
I invited you to the group.
I know you did.
27th.
I've been
Holly's
swamped.
probably
27th.
recovering from a bender.
That's gonna be the
I would
training
be.
day, and then
Oh
we'll
my
figure
gosh,
out
at
teams
least
from
she's
there.
not in the line of fire
Oh, yeah.
at this point.
It's always nice to have somebody else taking the heat for a change.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm even gonna need this.
Max, how you doing?
Fair and holding, how about you?
Doing great.
I think the one at the county meeting last night
Think we're
broke.
gonna make it, probably.
God, glad.
Another
No,
day
stop.
I was listening, I should
They had
have
them lined.
had something adult beverage wise to drink.
They had them lined up in the waiting room.
Yeah.
The American
Yeah,
way is,
yeah,
She's in the parking lot.
we really have to
yeah,
tell
yeah.
you, you know, even our delivery trucks will let them go around, cause then they
Well,
can just, you know, head out.
right,
And they're always there
because
before
then it's
anybody else.
sunshine.
But it took a long time for them to realize it was a circle drive.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, come on.
yeah,
As long as there's as many people as there
because then
are,
it was sunshine.
spending money and having as good a time as they are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Holly. How are you?
As if yesterday's fun was not enough, I'll have another super fun, sarcasm font,
I thought you were on a
board
bender.
meeting this afternoon. So,
Make this one fun.
I probably need to depart a little expeditiously myself, because it's in another county. That used to be my favorite board.
I was just saying, your machine there must have broken.
Oh, okay.
All those people coming to the county.
Great, Janet just didn't know how to run it.
No, I mean, just
Yeah.
because of how many people went through.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, it was rough. It's
all
hard to
right.
watch. Can't imagine
Yeah, it's all
being
good. You're good.
All right. Good morning, everyone. We'll call this meeting of the Tourist Development Council to order. Today is May 14th. It is 9 a.m.-ish. I've been running early lately. I don't know what happened this morning.
Yesterday happened.
Yes, that's pretty much it. Who would like to give the invocation? Anyone? Max, thank you, and then followed by the pledge.
God in heaven, known to all of us in different ways, we're gathered here to do a thing called government. It's an invisible machine you gave us where leaders get together to try to do what's best for the people. And we ask you blessing that we do that, particularly in the area of tourism, so we can protect our culture and our history and our environment, at the same time we grow our economy. We ask for your wisdom as we do this, and we ask for understanding of the people that we serve. And we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Excellent job, Max. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call, please.
All right, roll call.
Oh, we're gonna do an oath of office real quick.
Oh,
No,
yes.
Yay.
that's not on my agenda. Sorry about that.
Oh. All right, I'm gonna just say a few words and you can repeat after me.
Thank you.
I, Tom Craig,
I, Tom Craig,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
protect, and defend
protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and
and government
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
and that I am duly qualified
and that I am duly qualified
to hold office
to hold office
under the Constitution
under the Constitution
of the state,
of the state,
and that I will well
and that I will well
and faithfully perform and accept
the
the
duties
duties of a member of the Citrus County
of the Citrus County
Tourist Development Council,
Tourist Development Council,
on which I am about to enter,
on which I am about to enter,
so help me God.
so help me God.
And if you can just sign right there.
Thank you. I got ahead of you.
You're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I really thought you were gonna continue the Animal House trend. I state your name. Well, since you quoted Animal House, 10 minutes ago.
See, this is why I love this board.
All right,
Mostly.
roll call. Commissioner Holly Davis,
Woohoo!
Vice Chair Mike Ingles,
Yipper.
we'll do newly appointed, or I should say, sworn in, Councilmember Tom Craig. Here. Luann Jacobs.
Here.
And Max, known as Michael, known as another alias, Schumann.
Here.
All right, Tom Craig, Dr. Desai is absent. Michael Shoemaker is absent. Michael Mankey is also absent.
Do we have a quorum?
And Chris Sing, yes. Councilman Chris Sing.
Five,
Yes,
okay.
yeah. So we are good with the quorum.
How is Mike Shoemaker doing?
He's doing well. We actually met, he's out of town for family, actually. So I think his granddaughter's.
His granddaughter's graduation.
Yeah, so he is
Be
doing.
excused for that.
I went to see him at Nature's at his at the resort and in his office, and he's up and about, walking around pretty good. And
So he should be able to be here at the next meeting?
yes,
Okay, because we
Yes.
can't hold a spot forever, but
Right.
he's a highly valued member of the
Yes.
board, so we'd sure like to have him back.
agree.
So, awesome. And huge congrats to the Cove.
Thank you.
I'm glad you got that article. I talked to Jim on the way out of the meeting, and I was like, come on, and he's like, well, no, of course. So I just brought it to Jim's attention, so.
Thank you.
Anyway. All right, looking for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Mike Engels, a second by Luann Jacobs. Any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Approval of minutes.
So moved.
Approve, okay. Motion by Mike Engels, second by Max Schulman. Is there any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Open to the public. All right, we'll close open to the public, no presentations, so we'll move right to the director's report.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning. Welcome back.
I know, right? I feel like it's been years. Wanted to acknowledge Council Member Gabrielle Sachu in the audience today. So thank you. She is representing the city of Crystal River. So as as backup. So we appreciate her support, and of course, the city's support. Of course, Leslie Bowling is also in attendance as well.
For
So-
clarification, hi, we haven't actually met, I don't believe. Very nice to meet you. Will she be joining the board?
No, it's
Instead of Mr. Ensign?
council member. Well, no, because we can't have the two. It's one or the other. So
I know, I didn't know if he was leaving the board and she was coming
Oh
on.
no. He's just he is absent today. I think he's out of town or something as well. So
Okay, so you're just basically here to
Report.
report back.
Yes.
Got it.
Yep.
Thank you for being here.
Okay, so we've had some issues with networking the last couple of days. The county,
yeah.
Commissioner Davis, I'm sure you know. So there's some things that was very challenging printing out. Yes,
We can go over the budget first,
yesterday, and today. Okay.
which is on.
Okay. Yes, thank you. All right, so page. So speaking of that, just challenges of printing things out. So we should have everything in there. Hopefully, it's a couple of things that we're missing. But on page 12 of 52, which is our budget, if you remember, last year we talked about a couple of things in regards to getting things to you a little bit earlier, especially even in the upcoming July meeting for our media plan, so you guys can have just a little bit more time to digest everything. This is the proposed budget. We are now in phase 3, coming up on phase 3 in our budget, so we wanted you all to look this over. And there's some things that what we did was we crossed out all the things that we are not doing as opposed to last fiscal year. You'll see that. There's really no other highlights. The strategic plan is coming out, of course. That was a big ticketed item. Christina, is there anything I should be aware of in regards to something that sticks out that they should be aware of?
Mostly it's gonna be in the travel, some of the ones that we're not doing. So you'll see we crossed out the shows that we're not doing for whatever reason. Either the shows are not happening anymore, or we're doing something in place of that. And you'll see bolded, and it says new. These are the new shows that we are looking to do this year. So that's kind of the main change this year in the budget.
And also, we'll be put in there too, some of these shows, we just have to have multiple people, i.e. like a Hershey show. It's just no way one person can do that stuff. Those days are like 8 a.m. ding to dong to 7 p.m. at night, and 6-7 days in a row. It's rough. So anyway, we have that in there for management and budget to see that as well. So we're fairly we have our we don't have a scheduled phase 3 meeting, I don't think, just yet. Or do we have a scheduled meeting?
We do have a scheduled meeting with management and budget in next week.
Next week, okay. All right, so we have that. We have another meeting with him set up as well. So we're pretty satisfied with how everything's are looking. So do you guys have any questions from a budget standpoint and what's proposed?
Anyone?
Yeah, the first thing that's crossed out that I noticed is the Latin American PR. And I understand that's a growing area for Florida, so I didn't know if it was just that particular firm or, a trend that you don't see that being worthwhile for Citrus, or?
So yes and no. So it is an important thing for us, but we're kind of doing it a different way. I'm gonna let Terry talk about that a little bit, about what she is doing and how we are transitioning from the different markets within Latin America. And so so this is kind of our first official, so we're gonna have presence. We just won't have right now the PR firm,
Okay.
so, but she'll talk about.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, so we're
I just wondered,
definitely.
because I know Visit Florida and Tampa and
Yep.
other places are putting a lot of emphasis on Latin America. And I was hoping we weren't backing away. If we're just taking a different tack, that's all.
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was kind of like what we did with the UK and Germany, where I would go and do little things and build up the recognition, and then we get a firm to represent us over there. But it's like a 2-year cycle. So, and I'm first years, I'm doing Brazil in August, hopefully, if it's approved, but a sales mission over there, so.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
That
so on my
tracks.
radar.
Yeah,
Yep.
and even on that Brazil, Mike, that's a great question. So we're actually, we were approved for the budget for Mexico, right?
Mexico,
So we were approved for that, but we decided to say, with the fam tours with Visit Florida, and they've been very successful, and then with the Brazilian market and how outdoorsy they are from a cultural standpoint, it's just an ideal fit. So we're actually going to, what we're going to do, we bring to BOCC, we're actually just replacing the Mexico trip with a Brazil trip is what it is. So we're just, one international trip for the other. So no, we're definitely going to have a huge footprint in the Latin America. We're just not quite ready to latch onto a PR firm just
Right.
yet.
And I know there's direct flights from Bogota to Tampa now
Yep.
and stuff like that. So
Another reason. Yeah.
it's certainly a growing area.
Yep.
That's
We're excited.
Within that, I caution this regularly. Love Brazil, and I know they spend a lot of money, but in terms of bang for the bucks, when you have such a large Spanish-speaking market and Brazil being one country, I hope that we are starting to watch. I hope we're looking at getting at least one Spanish speaker in the office, and that in terms of marketing material, we get to the point where we can understand what we're saying in our interactions. And it's about cultural nuance, but that's how you get the folks that you'd like to come and make sure they're happy when they're here.
May I address?
Yeah, please.
So that's the point in getting this an agency like this. So like, for example, Germany, when I go somewhere, they go with me if there's a language, but in almost every case, they speak English anywhere we go. For the 99% of the people in any other country speak English as a second language. And so if they're in a professional service, which is the trade, tourism trade industry. But that's another reason too why we hire these firms, because they speak the languages, they have the people to speak multiple language, Portuguese, Spanish, whatever it might be. So we're looking at Brazil, Mexico, Peru, Argentina, any of those Latin America countries.
Great
South American.
markets. I would suggest that you also look in terms of companies at Panama. First, because their currency is the US dollar. Second, because of our 100-year presence there. About 20% of Panama speaks English. And third, having spent 15 years there, most of the senior people have gone to American universities. Their doctors go to LSU. They have standing seats at Notre Dame and Texas A&M. And they get us better than most. Additionally, they're only 2 hours flying time from Miami, but it's a good key to how to get the rest of Latin America, because they're not Central American, they're not South American, they have a Colombian background. We could get a lot by working with them. I hope we'll at least look at that.
Sure. Thanks, Max.
All right. Other than that, any other questions or comments?
Just in terms of mental focus, obviously the bed tax fund is going to be not as large next year based on what's happened this year. Have you made downward adjustments in any areas, or is that not necessary?
Well, we're in the black. So right now we are trending fairly well the first several months of the year. So this time last year we were in the red. So last year we were trending down. We had to make adjustments, but yeah, all the budget, everything that we do is basically based off of that. So everything is adjusted for that particular outcome. As best we can figure it out now. But so far so good from a collection standpoint. I'm still optimistic, but optimism only kind of has a lifespan, but so far so good. Terry talked about that when she talks about some of the hotel numbers. But no, we're doing like surprisingly well when it comes to a collection standpoint.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other council member? All right. Well, yeah, so that's it. And like I said, we're in phase 3 again next week to hopefully finalize that, and then we have a July and September for BOCC to officially approve and move us forward. Okay. Yes, and I do need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Well, I can't. There you go.
Motion by Max Schulman, second by Mike Engels. Any further board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Awesome. All right, so you should have in front of you the announcements and updates. Or I guess we have it there. Okay, all right, cool. So here's my part. I'm going to really focus on just a lot of things we have going on. There's a lot going on at the VCB, and a lot of activities, a lot of initiatives. We'll start off with, of course, May 22nd is our retreat for our strategic plan with Berkeley. We are thrilled with that. And, that's going to be a full half a day. But, basically that's going to, we're going to talk about the survey results with all our community leaders that filled out that, and to really get down and dig down into those initiatives that we're really going to be, looking to fulfill over the next 5 years to give us that roadmap on, how we build this thing out and what comes in the future. So be ready for that. You guys all have the announcements and the invites for that. Of course, going down, I will be at BOCC presenting June 10th meeting for the actual annual county tourism impact report. We haven't had one done really since 2022, so really excited to see that. So that'll officially be out for that particular meeting. City of Inverness and City of Crystal River, their reports and presentations were done respectfully April the 15th, and as recently as May the 12th, I was able to do some annual reports for those destined for those particular markets within our county, with the focus just on what their impact was, what some of their events did, and that was a really good opportunity to not only educate but inform those councils on what's going on. I know Councilmember Craig was obviously representing Inverness, so he was in the audience for the April 15th presentation, and Council member Sasha was in presence for the May 12th presentation. So if they have any comments or something like that, or with the presentation, I'm sure they'll say what they have to say. So again, it's just more us reporting and letting the community know what we're doing, what's coming up next, and really talking about some of the highlights that we've gone through. With the hurricanes, 2024 was a challenging year for us from a community standpoint, but I think the overall message was resilience, and I think we were very resilient in our efforts and how we overcame the two major hurricanes that impacted our coast. Something that I'm really excited about is the short-term rental collections. I know, even from last year, there's a huge gap in our collections from a short-term rental standpoint. We know that the TDC, we are not collecting nearly 100% of what's due to the organization. So we have been in talks with a new company, new software, GovOS. We'll be submitting that hopefully today, tomorrow, to the county. But we're really excited about that opportunity. I have had some small conversations with our county tax collector, Ms. Janice Warren. So this software, we looked at some other communities. This software is designed to send out those notices, identify all the short-term rentals from condos to homes, RVs. What else am I thinking about? I think that's the main thing. Boats, if they're, and we can break down per community where the money is coming from, where it is, where it's not coming from, and then we can begin to put some legwork behind this, because right now the Department of Revenue, we all know, takes our collections and reimburses us with that, but we have no reporting. We just don't know where it's coming from. Mm-hmm. But this is going to give us that leg up on where the money is coming from, and the goal is to increase our budget at the end of the day. I think we'll be in a good position to do that with this company, and then by what some of our other counterparts are doing around the state. It's worked very well, so it's long overdue. So I'm excited about that. So, hopefully we'll have some movement in that in our July meeting in regards to contracts and things of that nature. So please be aware of that too. Yeah, sure, Mike.
Potential timing. I know there's a bunch of steps and approvals. Sure. Would you try to sync it to the county fiscal year of 1 October, or would we end up having to wait until a state fiscal year 1 July?
That's a great question. I really don't know. I would like to sync it up. Yes, I think it can be, but we'll see. So I'm not really for sure on how it would match with the fiscal year versus the collection part. I would think so, because that's how it's done now. It's still a collection, so it shouldn't be July 1 or even a calendar. It should be an October 1 fiscal. But that's something I'll definitely ask for sure.
Because 1 June 25 would be great.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that too.
Get a little scalp.
Yeah. So yeah, and then of course, I think that the more we can raise and bring forth to the TDC, I think there's more things that we can do, especially in it all comes down to, and I'm gonna sound like a broken record, it all is gonna come down to the strategic plan. Like, that's gonna be the grail right there, and we're gonna abide by that when we figure out what we wanna do. But, we have to have money to do these projects, and there's a lot of great ideas and a lot of ways that we wanna see how the county grows from a tourism standpoint, from a destination, because we have an amazing destination. So we wanna make everybody happy. We wanna do right by you all, but we wanna do right by the local businesses. Okay, let's see.
Regarding the collection from, like, online rental businesses, I have experience with Monroe County friends who live there and have Airbnbs, and some parts of Monroe County are allowed to and some not.
Mhm.
Closer you get to Key West, the Key West hotels have gotten together and they basically block them all. And one of the ways that they do it is they have a group of people, and they actually book rooms with the people who have Airbnbs, and then when they bring them into court, they say, okay, you took my reservation, we're gonna fine you X number of dollars, and you need to cease and desist. I don't know how that works. I could look into how that works, but I know the system you're talking about is just to track how many of them are there, or how many dollars we're looking at. I don't know how they do it in Monroe, but they actually find these people.
Yeah, so it's more than tracking. The first step is the tracking. The second step is to notify them. And then what it is we have the ability with the screenshots of all the properties, the listings and everything on all of all the mediums and everything, and then we'll send out those notices. Also, there's a registration component to it as well. So because, see, by law, you have to pay that tax. The issue with it being with the Department of Revenue for the state of Florida is it's not being enforced as much. Here we'll have the ability to send those notices, because we'll know what the notices is sent out, and then it'll also be going to the Department of Revenue, and then it's on from there. So it's all about being the goal is to be at least 90% compliant, and from what we're seeing with this software, with this program in other counties, they're like 95 to 99% compliant.
So the relationship, you think, maybe between Monroe County and Florida is different than our relationship as far as bed tax? And
I couldn't even answer that. I don't know.
I can't either. I'm just wondering, how do they do it? I mean, they've been doing it for 6 years, 7 years.
Tom, Mike Mankey and I have been bringing this up for a couple of years. In fact, based on conversations I had with you, and it turns out that the secret is buying the data. So
Knowing who they are.
Yeah, literally, they get, Airbnb is glad to sell them who is advertising and what transactions are going on, and then you compare it and say, that's funny, I got nothing from these guys.
Right.
Combined with going through and seeing who's running ads, individual ads and all that.
And then someone would have to actually physically
make
the contact, or
There you go.
make the case and
the
find
cool
out
thing
they're
is-
not taking taxes, they don't have a permit for rentals.
Yeah,
or,
and the cool thing is we don't have to worry about somebody. That's what the system does, right? The best part about it is they did a scrub already. We have 2,000, right around 2,100 short-term rentals.
yeah. They have they're trolling the internet, and when you come to court, they actually hold your feet to the coals on referrals to your property. They'll even keep fining you if someone's referring your property, even though you've taken it down. I mean, it's that intense that they're going into it, after it.
Yep.
It's important. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, and right now we don't have anything in place, so there's nothing. And not only in place, when you don't collect it locally, it makes it even more challenging, because see, now I couldn't tell you who's getting what or who's paying what. I have no idea. We have no idea. We don't get any of that information.
Well, they're going to court actually with the sheriff, in that county.
Yeah, with this, we won't have to do that.
Yeah.
The system's gonna do it for us, and they
Great.
scrub it with human beings before
Yeah.
they send us the data as well. So that's why they have such a high success rate, the 98, 99%.
Are you saying that some are already paying voluntarily? Is that what?
Some are already paying, yes.
Oh, yeah, 100%, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But
Of course.
we believe there's a significant amount of money being left on the table, like
Right.
with the
And
million, with the
this doesn't
million.
require any local ordinance on our part to make this mandatory?
No,
With
you know,
penalties?
Requires it. No, the state requires
Okay.
it.
yeah.
The other thing it.
That's the best part about it, Commissioner Davis, is it's actually a state law. It's just, just like paying your taxes with, personal. Some people wait forever, to file a tax, for their, the W-2s, and it's the same thing. It's just for a small business. So some people who do this on the side, oh, it's not a big deal. I don't make that much money, doing it. I only do it 4 times a year. Well, how many of those people say that? And it really adds up.
Or it's like being a retailer that doesn't, a small retailer doesn't remit sales tax.
Yeah.
Correct. And you have the ability to go back
Yeah.
a year or two.
Additionally, one of the things you get is those people that are in areas that are not zoned for short term. So for example, in our county, if you're on the river or you're on the waterfront anywhere, you can do short term if you go through the process. But there are people in regular neighborhoods, many of which end up with noxious behavior that their neighbors hate, that are really not in an area where they're zoned to do that, and we'll have that data as well.
Is it a zoning thing or is it an HOA thing?
Probably all of the above.
Well, for example, the city of Crystal River, it's an ordinance.
No, I understand.
Oh, okay.
City of Crystal River is a little bit different, but as far as I can tell, and, I'm certainly not an expert on this subject, but I don't believe that short-term rentals are necessarily banned by any county code. HOAs ban the heck out of them.
True.
Yes.
And I know there's
There's no
people
county.
in my neighborhood that is Citrus Hills. They advertise on Airbnb. My brother rented one for his family when we had a memorial for my dad. And it was like, that was the Citrus Hills on Airbnb. Don't know how HOA had busted them,
Yeah.
but
So maybe that's the difference between Monroe County. They probably have an ordinance.
And they probably have a staff too.
Right.
Of more than 5.
Well, the good thing is
For
with
millions of dollars.
Yeah, with this method, we're not. This is not about a court thing or trying to. We're not trying to go down that road at all. This is more so identifying. Here's your bill. That's it. So, and and the good thing is we can also look back, but I don't. We can go back a couple years. They told us we have that ability, but I think it's just more so about moving forward, and saying, hey, we know what's been going on, and the great thing about it is when they showed us. They can pull the snapshots of the existing listing on the multiple platforms. I was like, wow, this is pretty impressive, so pretty excited about it. So,
Thank you.
all right, continuing on to the announcements and updates. Welcome Center, the city of Crystal River are now in their temporary permanent home at the Exit Realty building. They are now out of that space, which is what our Welcome Center was. That space is a large space for us, and we know that's pretty much the first indoctrination to the destination as people come in off the road with families, and we see it all the time with their exhaustion, many questions, whether it's from different parts of Florida, Carolinas, Ohio, New York, out of the country. It's time to create a true welcome center. So when they walk in, it's like a wow factor. And we are now interviewing and talking to several companies and interior designers to create a space, a synergy where when visitors come in and partners come in, we have something that we can show off. Also to the standpoint of we're going to create areas where we can highlight multiple partners in a month about their businesses and things of that nature, what they offer. Charging stations, a place to kind of relax and unwind, a new command center. Just lots of different things, So we're going to leave all that fancy stuff to the designers and everything. So this will be a special project. We're not doing it, as a line item in our budget or anything like of that nature. But the staff is excited for it. It's long overdue. It's really been a space where it's been a blank canvas. Honestly, if you've ever, you guys have seen it before. It's just a blank canvas. But we're excited to get that to the next level. Been around different places in the country, and I've seen some amazing examples. I mean, you guys have traveled as well, and if you've been to some of the welcome centers in some of these cities, they're really cool, you know. So we're excited to kind of get that project and to create something that represents the county, and not, you know, it's going to be something that represents the entire county. So we're going to touch all corners here. So so we are in the process of, you know, at least getting what that cost look like and those estimates. But again, it'll be a special project.
If it looks anything like the Crystal River National Wildlife Refuge headquarters, those great info displays, that would be great.
We want it to be interactive, touch screens in there for people can come in there and they can select what they want to do. And then, for example, the itineraries would be emailed to them, or they can print them out and stuff like that. So all different types of things, you know. And of course, you know, you'll have your traditional things, brochures, guides, staff, of course, will be in there. But we're excited to what it could look like, you know, and hopefully we'll find somebody that can help us out, create that vision that staff has. Also, we have in the process of our new destination guide. We are going to go with, you guys are probably familiar with Acres Media. We are going back to the original size, of Discover the magazine that we had. So we're going to go back to our big one. You know, a lot of folks miss the older version, the larger version. So we feel like we are a destination that deserves, you know, that wow factor. So we're going to go back to that wow factor, and we're excited about that. I don't know if staff has anything to add to it or anything like that, you know. So, but yeah, so that's in the process now. Of course, you in front of you, last two things that I have in front of you. Just you have this article sheet. This is just for the month of April. And it just talks about, you know, some of the numbers. Nothing changed. You know, we can get granular and get more in depth into some of these things, but things look really good. I mean, I like to see 27% of the visitor spend is going toward local businesses. Visitation for the month of April of all spend, I'm talking Walmart, the Wawas, and all those kind of places as well. It represents 15% of the total spend. That's a big number for a month of April. It really is. We got to get some of that money. You know, I even want the local businesses number even higher from 27%, because I want to make sure that even though our hotel lodging numbers look good, we want to make sure that is trickling down to our local businesses, our local tour operators. We are meeting with our agency a lot. We always talk about the top of the funnel. We are trying to get down in the middle of this funnel with our campaigns, really trying to hit some of these markets like a Tampa, Orlando, Ocala, for example, these drive markets that we know, like in Ocala, you know, there's no water there, so, and stuff like that. So we know that they want to come down for a day trip or for a tour and stuff like that. So we are really trying to focus some low-hanging fruit, some advertisements there in those types of markets to get some folks, especially getting ready for scalloping season, especially. So that's the main thing. So we have you know, I think we have something special coming out for scalloping season. We've contracted with someone, a local group, and I'll let Terry talk about that one too.
Yeah, we've got Digital Hound doing a scalloping promotion for us. And I'm excited. They're going to go out with a couple local captains out of Homosassa, and they've got their actors.
The Johnsons.
And the Johnsons are coming back. Right. And if you remember the Johnsons that did the video for Crystal River, the Johnsons are going to go scalloping in Citrus County out of Homosassa, and we're going to do a great promotion with them. We're going to have a 1 minute, a 30-second, and a 15-second commercial, and then the 15 seconds a reel for social media. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and they're excited, and we are too. So we'll hopefully present that to you in July.
Also, just, you know, before I get to the TDC, the last thing, the meeting for July, man, it's been some good news, some good press. Commissioner Davis, you already mentioned about the Cove. That Cove announcement was like huge. I mean, you know, to be recognized as the best, number one, and meeting with Luann, going to her place and talking about it a little bit, she has seen, I think, a witness now as what the power of marketing, branding, and awards, what they can do for a small business, and I don't mean that's a small business, but from a business. And Luann, if you can maybe just talk about, that announcement and just what it has done for you and your staff.
Okay. It was really crazy how it all happened because we knew nobody approached us and told us. We had customers telling us, we saw the article. We're here because we saw the article. And after 3 days, we're going, what article? So we finally had to start doing some research, and we found out that CampSpot, which is the RV booking platform that we use, is much like Airbnb, but for RVs. Through their, when you review a CampSpot or anything, your reviews matter. Somebody's counting them, they're looking. But it was through those reviews from the campers that have been there that we won nationwide #1 hidden gem in the nation. And as soon as we saw it and we started promoting it on our Southern Living picked it up first. So it was in Southern Living magazine. And then Travel and Leisure picked it up. And we started promoting that on our Facebook and website. And in 48 hours, we had 85 bookings. And it hasn't stopped. It's just continuing to grow. I mean, it's slowed down, but all we have to do is just throw that media back out there, and it picks up, So power in print.
Yeah. So well deserved. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Southern Living and Travel and Leisure, at least now you're getting the Chronicle.
Yeah. Meeting with them on Friday.
Yeah. Also, City of
I
Crystal.
actually think the Chronicle does a very good job considering the resources that you have for a very
This is true.
small town paper.
Other awards, City of Crystal River, I did Audra and I, the city manager, they won, of course, most charming small town, and we did an interview out at the bay there on the boardwalk, and again, that was thrilling. Crystal River is used to winning awards, but that was really cool their thing too as well. So that was fun. And Spectre was who came out? What channel?
Bay News 9.
Yeah, Bay News 9 came out and interviewed us, and that was for HGTV. So that's another feather in the cap. Then got two more things. Then Inverness, wins for small town. So, and then the Withlacoochee Trail. So it's like, and those are like two huge things, on the east side. And we talked about that at the presentation, and then the Withlacoochee Trail came out. They finished up ranking number 2. We were number 1 for a long time, and I thought we were going to get that number 1, but 2 ain't bad either, So, and I'm not, and I think, and also with the city also winning their award, combining, it was a lot of good press over the last few months for our destination overall. And it's really good to see it's on the east side and on the west side. And eventually, the middle is going to be coming up pretty fast. That Lecanto, Hernando, you're going to start seeing awards come there too. The best the best toll road, in the country. Parkway, I don't know. It's going to be something. It's going to be something. But no, I just wanted to say that. And, we as a staff, we try to promote those things in our social media to get people to come out to vote and things of that nature. And some of these things were not even a vote. It was like pure recognition.
Yeah.
And that makes it even better because I'm not having to do it 100 times, even though I will, but ones when you recognize without a vote, it makes it a little bit extra special. So congratulations to everybody in the community. So we're excited about that. Last thing I'll end with is TDC for our July meeting. We're looking to reschedule that from the original date of July the
I believe it was July 9th.
9th. I think you're right.
I am not good with either of those dates.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So we'll go back to the drawing board.
Unless you do afternoon of the 23rd or one of the bracketed dates like the
Okay.
22nd or 24th, I think I might be okay.
So what we'll do is, how about we send out a survey monkey to TDC? We'll do it that way, a little bit easier, and we'll kind of see what makes the most sense for that meeting. And we just have some travels going on with staff.
I'm not available the whole week of the 16th, but
Okay.
the 23rd, we have 3 board meetings in Inverness.
Okay.
They're short ones, but they're all of our budget processes that we have to go through. We have
Understand.
like the special fire district, the library district, we have those on that morning, so,
Okay, we'll figure it out. Going forward, let's see.
Not that the world revolves around me, I'm sure you can scramble a quorum without me, so,
Yeah.
it needs to be one of those dates.
Okay, cool.
You can work it out.
Understand. I just realized I had a clicker here. I'm not even clicking. I just clicked. So some brief things. PIT is of course partisan tourism. It's just a thriving thing that we're doing there. At our last meeting, huge thank you to Commissioner Davis. She provided us VIP access in the hangar of the Crystal River Airport, and it was a really fun meeting. And we gave away an airplane ride, and that was really fun because we're going to try to promote aviation tourism, especially with our influencers and on the east and the west side of the county. I think we have a lot to offer, and I think it's a niche that we can do something cool and fun with. So we're going to start doing that. I remember coming into the office one day, and it's funny. I'm the one that's stuck with the meetings and all those kind of fun things, and I think somebody knows where I'm going with this already on the staff. But I come into the office, and it was from a long meeting as usual. Like I'm tired. My tie is kind of unloosened a little bit, and somebody on staff says, "Oh yeah, I was just out, on the plane overlooking the bay and stuff with James. With James. Oh yeah, so it was Kelly, by the way.
I was about to ask, did any of you ever take a plane ride?
Yeah, so
you
Kelly,
got it?
Kelly from the staff, she went on with the winner. Who was Elizabeth? Elizabeth Fernley. She was.
Oh, you went
she,
with her?
Yeah.
She was so nervous because I was given an air tour that morning and I ran into her. Yeah.
Yeah. So she went. So those are the fun things that the staff gets to do. I don't get to do those types of things, and it's
Well,
okay. It's okay.
I don't believe I've ever been asked to take y'all, but I can take y'all.
Okay. I need to see that license first, but okay, that's not a problem. And video proof.
You just lost your free ride.
Hearing you on the radio.
She's old enough.
But with that said, we talked a lot about the Canadian market, and we there's some concern there. We're monitoring it like daily, but right now the last reports we have, the Canadian search traffic to U.S. DMO websites, that's like Visit Tampa, Discover Crystal River, Visit Myrtle Beach, all the websites, is down 40% from last year's volume. The automobile trips, which is really what's important to us, is down 32% through March, okay, as compared to last year. It's not a good thing. So, the Canadian market is a huge market for not only Florida, but the country, also Michigan as well, because they touch a lot, so we're seeing those changes there. But we are doing our best to make sure that the Canadian market, they know that they have the love from our destination. So it's just we're doing as much as we can, but some of this stuff is just, whether it's terrorist politics, it's out of our control, but we're just focused on understanding, hey, this is definitely going to be a little trouble for us, but we're trying to make up for some of those changes. So, Terry, you want to add anything to that?
Just to let you know that I had a sales mission scheduled to go to Canada, and we collectively as a team decided that our county funds could be used better elsewhere, because it's too, for us to go and sit in front of Canadian travel agents who are telling their clients not to travel to the U.S. is, to go, all I would be doing is, hey, we still love you. When this is all over, please come back. Well, we don't need to spend money for me to travel to do that. There's other ways we can utilize those monies and have the same effect. So just wanted to let you all know that mission was canceled.
And you know what? And to point to that, we were still going to try to go, but Visit Florida, the format changed. So we basically lost all the appointments. So we were just going to go just to kind of sit there. And when we lost the appointments, because if we were going to still get in front of the one-on-one appointments, the agents and the meeting and everything, it'd have been a different story because we could have had a different impact. But when that changed, and I think what happened was the that particular group told Visit Florida, hey, we're not going to be able to meet with you individually one-on-one, but you can still come if you want to. I was like, okay. So we saw the message on the wall. So it wasn't just us, Visit Tampa, everybody, all the major players pulled out. So it wasn't like we made a unilateral decision. We kind of collectively came to the decision, and it made sense, But still, we're still going to promote, do what we can there, but within reason. Next slide, historical. I'm sorry. Oops. There we go. Stop it. Hotel context. I just wanted to show you guys this chart. This is a really interesting chart. You can kind of see from COVID how the uptick was and the trend and everything. If you start to know that curve is starting, you can see the peak was in that, early 24 or 24 time frame. That curve is starting to come down. We hear that July, August, September time frame, we're going to see a downturn from a national standpoint. I will say this, the national trend does not always dictate, in this case, what our destination is going to trend. So we are seeing that we kind of have peaked, even from a destination standpoint. So there's going to be a shift. We know that. It's just how much of the shift is going to be. So again, that's just data that we're kind of constantly keeping aware of, and I think our hoteliers know it, and they know it because of the rates. Anytime the rates you see are skyrocket as they are, and they're being booked, it says a lot, because and Terry's going to go over the ADR and all that stuff. So I don't want to steal her thunder, but again, that's just something we'll be conscious of. And again, I don't even know with Luann and her bookings, if she's even charging more, if her rates have gone up or stayed the same or pretty flat.
Our rates are the same.
Okay.
Is there a Florida version of this?
Yes. There's a Florida version.
So, I would guess Florida peaked earlier than the U.S. in general, just because we opened earlier than some of the other major markets.
Yeah, that's why you see a sharp. That's why you see that sharp, tick like that, and it's the same. It's going to be the same with ours, with our destination as well. It's going to be that, we just exploded, because the whole outdoor scene. Let's see.
Max, Tom just said you need to leave when, 10:30?
Quarter to 11.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'll wrap it up. Last thing is, here's the things I want to focus on. We're going to focus on high efficiency markets, lower funnel focus as well. I think Mike would be happy about that. Monitor trends for change, and we're just going to plan for agility. We're just trying to make sure we have the metrics, and not only the metrics, but from a policy and procedure standpoint, with how we work in the local government, to make sure that we're able to pivot quickly. That's the main thing. So we have to be agile as an organization, and that way, when we see something shift, we need to take those funds and say, hey, you know what? This is not working. We need to move it here, and then I think we're on pace with that. Let's see. Last thing for me. All right, last thing for me is the House bill. House Bill 733, House Bill 1221. The legislature resumed, the 12th. They're going to go through June the 6th. Right now, the only bill that's going to be for the Senate is going to be House Bill 733. I'll be short. It's simple. It's going to force 75% of the tourism development tax revenue to be used as a property tax credit, eliminating tourism promotion, marketing, and tourism facilities. Dissolve every tourism development council in Florida by the end of the year. Mandate public referendum on TDT every 8 years. Okay. Now, let's talk about some numbers. First of all, not even the numbers. We don't believe that it will pass the Senate. It passed the House, but we should be fine when it comes to the Senate. However, with that said, there's nothing guaranteed until you have a vote, of course. This whole idea of eliminating or cannibalizing your number one industry in the state. This is not even a Crystal River. This is not an Inverness. This is not a Homosassa. This is not a Citrus County tourism thing. This is a statewide issue. Okay, what's happening is these dollars and these tax credits that statewide representatives are feeling the need to help out the residents. And by the way, we all want to pay less taxes, but we have to understand the taxes
It's political pandering.
Yes, it is. From a
I'm
tourism
just gonna
standpoint.
say what it is. It's political pandering.
Yeah, it is. And we did the math. We're talking about $20.49 that it's going to save on property taxes. And with that said
And what do we give back to the taxpayer?
oh gosh.
What do we save?
400 and,
It's 1,800 per household.
Yeah, it's even higher.
well, that's a state average in the county, in our county, it's around $418, I think it is.
Yeah.
Versus
Per house
20,
or person?
versus $20.
Per person.
Per person.
So,
Yeah. So the household, if you look at a 2.3, you're kind of getting that $1,000 range, you
Okay,
know?
that would have been an important distinction to have on that, because that, when we did the quote for the
Yeah,
Chronicle,
yeah.
we gotta get our numbers straight and defensible, and I love the banner that Marion County did. That you sent, one of you sent to me.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We should have something like that.
Yeah. We can look into that for sure.
We should start somewhere, I know we're gated against advertising locally, but if there's anything that we can do to tell that message to our own residents, that, so
Yeah.
they can not, some of them are angry about the tourism.
Yeah.
They don't understand that it saves them a lot of money.
Well, and also, the kicker, and I was just talking about it with the city council of Crystal River, it's really the jobs component, so once we start marketing and once we start, bringing in, we spent over $41,000 in bringing influencers and media to tour our destination and things of that nature. Once those things stop, what happens is we'll get eaten up by the Tampas and by the Miamis and by the Orlandos, because they'll still have those dollars to market, and we'll get lost in translation. And then, all of the amazing product that we have, the culinary scene. I mean, like, we talk about manatees, right, a lot around here, but we are so much more than manatees. I mean, we talk about our culinary scene, our food scene, for example. We have restaurants and we have data that say 50%, and some as high as 60% of the patrons are visitors from outside of a 50-mile radius. And I can tell you right now, if we didn't have the visitation that we have, there's going to be a large number of our restaurants and tour operators that would fold, be completely out of a job, So it's like,
Will absolutely decimate our economy.
yeah, it's huge, and I think the Senate sees that. I think statewide we see that, but I think overall this is not a message, but I think it's just something where we as a tourism industry, we have to be a little bit more proactive in telling our story. And like you mentioned about the numbers, about, hey, you know what, we got to really dig down and making sure we're kind of, talking about these numbers and what is saving the households and, being on the same page. And I agree with that. Basically, the message is simple. We do not include any changes to the TDC or the TDT in the final tax package in the budget bills. So I have sent you guys out emails of, how to, contact our local reps and senators and things of that nature. I'll continue to send you guys emails and updates for talking points. If you ever get asked any kind of questions, you can always come to me or anybody on the staff. And I'll send out another email in a few days as far as the latest updates from what we're hearing and everything too as well. So
If I could though, we always, when a challenge comes up, we should always ask, what does this really mean? And we have used the strategy that tourism relates to dollars. I've talked pretty regularly about a lady, a professor from UC Irvine, that was one of the godmothers of the concept of sustainable ecotourism. And sustainable has got to give people skin in the game. The first skin in the game is jobs that pay enough money that their kids can stay where they live. That's first, but it's not the only one. It's about protecting the history and culture, and we don't do a good job. What happens is people in our county, more than in the rest of the state, but all over the state, see Florida as being challenged and see the culture of the Floridian as being challenged because we're not doing a good enough job telling that story, telling it in our ads, telling it with things like historical markers. If you skin in the game is a full package. It's jobs, it's culture, it's way of life. And we actually can tell them that you can control who comes here. Advertising, when you target it and you pick areas that we know folks come and have money, but they're also, as we are, near rural, you're bringing the right people here, and then every visit or every move starts with a visit. So you're actually selecting who's going to move to Florida by how you do tourism. It's not simple, but we have to do a better job that it's not just about jobs, because that argument isn't working for us, because if you look at the wages, we don't even have certified guide programs. Most of the folks that are not tour operators, the tour operators struggle to stay in business, and the folks that work for them aren't making the kind of money that they do in the big areas. So as we're doing the strategic plan right now, we've got to do a better job on what is skin in the game for our community.
That was a valuable rant. Thank you. Excellent.
I tried.
I say that with a smile, you know that, right?
I do.
I went on a rant yesterday.
That's all I have for that. I'm gonna let the rest of the team kind of go on with the reports. Any other comments on the bill or anything like that? Any other questions, comments?
I have many comments, but they're not quite targeted germane enough for this setting, but I do have some thoughts that
Okay.
I will share later.
Please.
I think that if it doesn't go through this year, which it probably won't, it's gonna be revisited. The Florida's, it looks like they're looking for ways to control all the incoming cash.
I'm not surprised. I mean, 2 years ago, Visit Florida was under attack, and that was, I mean, they were on the cusp of like going under. You know, of course, Governor DeSantis stepped in and everything, but they were trying to, in essence, defund Visit Florida. Same thing happened to Colorado, you know. So and they're still struggling as a state from a tourism standpoint. So
We also need to challenge the fact that there is a mindset that no matter what, we have to keep rolling back mill rates and we have to reduce taxes, and somehow we can do that and deliver the same services. We provide a valuable service. The money it's one of the only areas in tax where it's raised for a purpose and then it goes to that purpose. When what they're ending up doing is, we want to steal that money that's generated by tourism and rightfully is used to keep that machine going, and we want to compensate for the fact that we've given way too many people a pass to not pay full taxes on their properties. So we'll take the money from there and use it, in effect, raise the tax dollars at the expense of one area that's paying its own way.
Okay, so now I am gonna do a little bit of my rant. Did you just snort at me? Love you, Mike. The commission is faced with what's going on in Tallahassee. They're talking about doing away with ad valorem, while simultaneously there's another bill to reduce sales tax. Okay, so how are we funding anything? And this goes back to is why I was incredibly excited, but also desperately challenged by, I was appointed to the Leadership and Governance Committee. It's a select committee. It was invitation only for Florida Association of Counties. And I said, you know, one of their 3 arms on that is education, but the education was aimed at commissioners. I said, we have to expand that to educate the voters. So because we've got a lot of distrust in government, a lot of angry distrust, and ignorance is not a bad word. I'm ignorant on any number of topics, okay? And there are people who will always be willfully ignorant, but then there's people who are ignorant, but they just need to have an opportunity to learn and grow as to what happens. There's also a huge move afoot to put commissioners into term limits. You don't know what the heck you're doing in this job until you're nearing the end of your first term. Like, I'm really now feeling like I got my feet under me. I know the job. I know all the roadblocks and where they are, and somewhat how to navigate getting around them and free up government and make it more efficient. But, you know, we were founded on, you know, farmers and merchants that were going to go to DC and do their thing and then go back and have real lives, right? our world is so much more complex now than it was then. Ralph Mazzullo, our former representative, wonderful human being. I fought this for a very long time. He said politician is not a dirty word, because I would say I'm not a politician. I'm not. Never even ran for 8th grade treasurer. Have no desire to ever run for office. And I fought that for a long time, but it is absolutely a skill to be able to listen to citizens and try to figure out how to balance all the very wildly varying priorities and needs of a community. That is a skill. And never have I wanted to be a certified engineer, an attorney, and what was the third one? CPA. Okay? I mean, my first year in office, I would wake up and look at the Chronicle on Facebook and go, oh, I guess that's what I have to be an expert in today. You know, and I'm a quick study, but dang, it's a vertical learning curve. It's really hard. And you know, and I'm wrapping up. What was said to me last night, because of course my phone blows up especially after a rough meeting. My phone blows up and people are like, I would never do your job. And they're exactly the kind of person who should. These are thoughtful, educated leaders that have the best at heart for the community. They need to step up. One of them was the wife of a man who's brilliant, would be an awesome commissioner. He actually kind of wants to run for commissioner. And she said after last night, she was the one who came to hang out with me to make sure I got a chance to unpack. And she said, over my dead body, will I ever let him run for commissioner after I see what you go through? And never would I ever compare this to military service, to being shot at and having to live in a god-awful tent in the Middle East, okay?
But you get to shoot back.
But you get to just shoot back. But people need to step up and do this job, or we're sunk, because what we're left with are knucklehead moves like this.
Yep.
People that get up there, and I said this in my rant yesterday, it is so easy to tear stuff down. It is so hard to step up and build something great. And yes, you can build great things with reasonable taxes. Low, reasonable taxes. Not stupidly low, but reasonable, efficient taxes. And so I'm going to bring this to the committee and say we really have to start educating the public, and we need to start soliciting, this is purely for commissioners, solicit a better breed of commissioner to run for office, because those are the ones that also end up going to Tallahassee most of the time. Because the Mike hounds have got to stop.
Very well said.
I am dismounting now.
Well, the recovery from the hurricane that the county approved increased budget and resulted in phenomenal response to help our industry here, and that came from local money. If we would have gone to the state to try to borrow that money to get the advertising out to tell people that Crystal River is open for business, how long would it have taken? Could we have done it that quickly? That's why the TDC locally has to exist. We need to be able to respond quickly to specific needs that aren't in the state's crosshairs.
And I'll say one quick thing. It didn't really come from local money, but I know what you meant. It came from visitor tax collected monies.
But local
right.
TDC
You are
money.
correct.
Local approval.
You are correct. And just on that note, that was about $50,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember that number? And I shared some of this with Crystal River at the city, because I just got the numbers at the Monday during the day, and I don't think I forgot to tell the staff. But when I first reported that number, you probably remember the number was 7,300 confirmed visits, $4 million in economic impact, 3,600 in room nights. I'm such a numbers guy. Now, to date, it's 51,000 confirmed visits. It's 24,000 confirmed hotel room nights, and it's $25 million in economic impact from that campaign. And it's not over, we won't get the final numbers until September is when the campaign runs through, but it's all targeted with that particular $50,000 investment. So anyway, I digress. All right, that is it for me.
Let's run
Oops.
through this stuff
Oh,
quick.
I'm sorry.
Everybody's gotta leave.
Go.
Here we go.
I think I went too far.
Oh, did you?
No, where do you, because I believe there's 2 months.
We're starting off with January. February, I'm sorry. All right, excuse me, here's the star report for February. Ladies and gentlemen, please note that we are at 83% occupancy. We have not been in the 80s ever,
That's awesome.
not even during scallop season. So, now granted, we're down 196
A
rooms.
little bit of that is the plantation effect.
Right, exactly. But I just wanted to point that out. But you will notice too that our comp set is also, majority of them in the 80s. So we are doing very, very well, and I'm really pleased about that. Our ADR, you can see, is up just slightly over last year, year to year. And then the RevPAR also coincides with that. So really,
I don't know if that's slightly. It's $10.
yeah, it's $10, so.
But, I mean, that's, the percentage-wise, it's not bad.
Yeah, it was great. And then year to date, go to the next slide. Again, we're just on the cusp of 80% year to date, year over year, and a tremendous growth over 2024. That ADR, again, it's even more impressive if you look at the months that we're in so far. And then that RevPAR, check that out. That's awesome. I mean, we are just on a great growth spurt, and I think that largely attributes to what Avis just told y'all, that $50,000 boost to we're open and we're ready, and it's still, that campaign's still going on.
Can
so.
you explain the RevPAR just to everybody again?
Yeah, it's
What-
just revenue per available room. So how much revenue a hotel makes per rooms that they have. So Dr. Desai's property has 76 rooms. How much revenue is he making per room? As an example, that's the overall county number. Moving on to March. There we are again, still at 80%. Again, just really great numbers. And if you look at our comp set, we're killing it. Even over Pasco County, which we have not done in a very long time. Pasco's got a lot of good sports and whatnot, and events, and we're just,
And they've got Adam.
yes, but we have Avis.
Yes. That's why we're back.
That's right. That's why we're kicking Adams to
Pasco's saying Tampa's eating their lunch.
yeah. So
Yeah. So a place like Pasco, for example, what hurts them is when you're, like even when I was in like Rock Hill, right close to Charlotte, with Pasco, what happens is, they get a lot of leakage. We call it leakage. And so a lot of people will stay in Hillsborough County as opposed to Pasco because they have so many more hotels, right? So their rates, they can kind of come down a little bit. And a Pasco, for example, if you don't have as many rooms, then your rates might be a little bit higher, and depending on what you want to do. So it's kind of a catch-22. It's great to be close to the big market, but sometimes it can hurt you at the same time as well. So, but yeah.
all right, and then next slide. And again, year to date for March, there we are still just on the precipice of 80% occupancy. Same story. I sound like a broken record, but I'm okay with that. The only negative on this slide, of course, is the rooms available, and that's due to Plantation. Kings Bay Lodge is now fully back up and running, so Plantation is the only property in our county that is not recovered fully from the hurricanes.
Are they on schedule still?
It's
It
Did
depends on.
somebody buy it, decide buy it? Or,
No, there's nobody has
Not
bought that
officially.
property. Nobody's bought that property.
there's lots of rumors.
it's a small town.
Next slide, please.
We live on it.
This January revenue numbers, these again collected from the state. So we are back, we're behind in months, but January, we were up 15% year over year, January to January. There's a typo here, sorry, that December is January, my bad. Fifth penny allocation for, capital was 68,000. We have, at that point, we had 1.3 million in our capital reserves. And, year-to-date collections, we were up 19% year over year. And then finally, for February, the most recent numbers from the state, we were up 11% for the month of February year over year. And we're at 1.6 of capital reserves. We collected 73,000 in that fifth penny in February. And we dropped a little bit. We're only 17% up. So, and from a collection standpoint, we're having a phenomenal fiscal year. Next. We'll go over social media really quickly. I do want to make a point. You're going to see numbers that are slightly disappointing. Our guru, Alyssa Hofelt, has been out on family medical leave, and it's been a struggle to put the effort and the time in that she has. But we've found a fix for that. Our PR firm is stepping up to help us with that. Miss Stephanie, who unfortunately isn't with us today, the new member of our staff, is going to jump in and do some things with the help of our PR firm until Alyssa comes back. So
When is she due back?
She right now she's on FMLA.
So it's up to 12 weeks and
I was about to ask,
halfway
what is it?
through-ish.
Yeah.
I can't even answer that. I don't really know.
Yeah, FMLA is 12, I think.
yeah,
Okay.
and then you can ask for extensions and things like that. So anyway, so this is the effect of yours truly taking over, and I apologize. You guys know I have a lot of balls in the air, and I did not do a very good job keeping up with her pace on promoting our destination as far as social media goes. So we've had some drops in the numbers. If you go to the next slide.
Yeah, Terry, are those numbers, what do they represent? The images are from February, so are the followers February or are they
No,
April
the
or-
followers are March and April.
Okay. Yeah, I just saw the images say February, so.
Yeah, the next
Wasn't
slide's
sure.
got some dates on it for you.
Thank you.
Yep, so this is March 21st to April 17th.
Were we always in third, or did we
We've been
hit
in
sec-
third consistently for a
So
couple
we
months.
never hit second?
We lost second, we were in second,
That's
and
what I
we
said. I
lost
thought
at New
we were in
Smyrna
second.
Beach got
Yeah.
us, yeah.
Okay,
So,
we don't have hard copy of this one.
no, because of our server issues, I just
Yeah, yeah.
entered these numbers
Okay.
this week, and
Yeah.
No, that's fine, no,
as soon as we get up and running, we'll send it to you.
thanks. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't need hard copy, just shoot out soft copy.
Yeah, so anyway, those are the views on Instagram. You can see 48.7, that's horrible. So we're getting it back up and running, and I think at the next TDC meeting, you're gonna see those numbers back up to normal. We can go to the next slide. We did a special post about the reopening of Catch 22. We got a lot of good followers on that one. That was 23,000 people were reached on that one. Our fishing report continues to be really popular, and our fishing page is doing quite well. I think we got another additional 70 followers, which for the fishing page alone is pretty darn good. And then Instagram, we had some really good follows on some of the stories we did there. So. And then this is April to May. And Facebook, forgive me, April to May on both of those. I didn't change the dates, so I apologize. It's been. Moving on. From our PR firm, you want to do this? You want me to do it?
Yeah, I can do it. So this is what we got from Hayworth PR. Our reports, this is for the month of March. We're looking, mostly articles were, on the first one, the impressions of 1.44 million, and with Instagram, 78,000 views and 1,700 engagements on mostly the Instagram ads. That's an old one, you can skip that one. And
Look at the code.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. So, this one was from this was a lot of stuff that Avis was just speaking about, but this one was actually on the Camp Spots website, which received 1.4 million impressions.
How
And
often do
then,
we get,
I'm sorry?
how often do we get numbers that have M on them?
Not that often. Look at that, isn't that awesome?
I didn't even get that page in my.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't get that page? Oh, yeah, because we just did that one. This is an updated, yeah.
Yeah.
We couldn't print out last night,
And then
so we'll get it to you.
That
But
is,
according to Sound Off, we need to slash the budget and the staff, just saying. And we don't have stuff that works around here.
yeah, so the next one in there, at 915 impressions was from HGTV, that was on Channel 10. They picked that one up, and then the Chronicle article was when announcing that Inverness was in the running. Once again, these are kind of a month behind, so. And then for April, 14.26 million impressions, on mostly articles, and then the 341,000 views. I can't read that. I might need glasses this fall. So anyway, 220 engagements with articles. And then we got these numbers coming in. Yeah, so this is when Southern Living picked up the article on the Cove, was 12 million impressions.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and then the next one is gonna be, that was for the Inverness, Best Small Towns in the South, number 3. That one got over 1 million impressions as well. And the next one is, we had West Palm TV, Channel 5, Finding Florida Hidden Gems. We had them here, and that was 938,000 impressions on that one. And they also, that was for the website, and then on the next slide, that was their TV segment on the same article, and it was 216,000 views. And then the next one is Orlando Magazine, was featured the Nacer Coast as one of the 13 coastal Florida destinations. That had 128,000 impressions. And the HGTV article on Crystal River with most charming towns got the 125,000 views. And then that was their, that was from the Bay News 9, the same article, but that was the actual website, received, just one engagement on that. I don't know what that one was. And then for fam tours, we have Insider Magazine. She actually canceled the day she was supposed to arrive in May, so we are looking to reschedule her. It was supposed to be sometime at the end of the month, but that's coming quickly, so I think we're gonna try to get her in June. We are hosting Major Gator this Friday. He's coming to Homosassa. He is a big-time fishing influencer.
How many followers does he have?
His reach is almost 450,000 on his 3 channels. He's big fishing guy. A lot of his reels get over 1 million views. He also just picked up a sponsorship with Columbia Sportswear, so we are hoping that, like, he's wearing his new clothing from them on his fishing trip this weekend, and we're hoping that Columbia will pick it up because that will be huge for us. He's going to basically be in Homosassa the whole time. He's going to be going to Crumps, the Cattle Dog down there, Wallace's, the Wildlife Park, the Monkey Bar. He's going to have a full day of fishing with Flats Chance, Don Chancey. So we're going to really let him have a good time in Homosassa this weekend. So I'm very excited about that. We've been trying to get him here for like 2 months. We've rescheduled on him 3 times. So he's coming
That's
this
awesome.
weekend, and I'm so excited that he's coming. And then coming up in June, we're gonna have a Gosh PR Media Fam tour that we're kind of working on. They're gonna be here Monday through Friday, so that's gonna be a long tour.
So it's a UK
Terry
media.
and I are kind of tag teaming on that. So I think that's pretty much what I've got on that.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take over for the Welcome Center, some numbers for you. We had 41 states represented in the month of April. The top states were obviously Florida had 86, Ohio 19, and New York 16. We had 19 countries come through, represented in our Welcome Center in the month of April. Canada, they're still here because they had the plans already. France, UK, Germany, Switzerland, Netherlands, Sweden, New Zealand, Brazil, Czech Republic, Ukraine, Colombia, Croatia, Israel, Scotland, Italy, Mexico, Australia, and Belgium.
Is there any noticeable trend up or down in that? Number of countries?
Canada's down. It's we're starting to see it come down. But France has grown. France has really skyrocketed, and that's another market I'm gonna start looking at. But we've really seen a lot more people from France in destination, not just in the Welcome Center. Okay, next. Your turn.
Catch, you brought catch up. So.
I didn't bring ketchup.
You did.
Here all week.
I
Try the veal.
think I may got 5 hours of sleep last night, so I'm really not on the sharpest tool in the shed today. But anyway, dear friend of mine came to visit, and he's very much a foodie, very well-traveled, just a really kind of a, humble but worldly dude, right? So we go to Catch, and his kids live in Asheville, so he's in and out of Asheville a lot. And we're sitting there, we're enjoying the meal, and it was the first time I'd been there since it reopened. And he said, I think this is the best meal I've had in a year. And he lives in Fort Myers, and he said, it's all chains down there. He said, you would think they would have a lot more single local owned
Mom and pop.
restaurants that are like that. And he said, there's one that I can think of that I really like, and that's it. The rest are all chains. And I said, well, what was the last meal you had that stood out? And he said, I was in, I want to say it was Montana for a regatta on a lake, in like some sort of like really swank resort. He's not a high, particularly high roller, so I don't know how he got that invitation or whatever, but he said elk was on the menu. So that was a pretty special, thing. And he said Catch was just phenomenal. And I started talking about some of the other restaurants, and he's been here before and been to some other restaurants with me. He goes, for the size of your county, the population, he said, you swing a much bigger bat than you should based on your population. He said, you're almost like a mini Asheville.
Yeah.
And
I
that
used
was,
to live there, and I've thought that many times, yeah.
and that's just really nice for me to hear, in my role here and I'm very proud of our county and I'm proud of our food scene, to hear that from someone that I really respect that lives in Fort Myers, which is, got some money down there, and they don't have what we have. So it was pretty awesome. And of course, I told Richard and Tiff that.
They deserve to hear it.
Anyone else have anything? Anything from the city?
Oh, no, just thank you for the support you give the city, and I was just meeting at Inverness, at least I got a lot of good information, and we got some communication back and forth about the numbers that are really welcome from Inverness. We're very happy to have you batting for us also, and that's the way we like it going forward. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Super. Yep.
Yeah, two things. One, because of a random Facebook post about a year ago, friends said, oh, they were in Tallahassee heading to Key West. So I sent a message saying, oh, you're probably going to drive past the place. So ended up, they were setting up a bike route from New Orleans to Key West. So they changed the route to stop here.
Yeah.
So because of a random Facebook post, it was about 25 room nights, 100 some meals, 2 activities, and 50 some ice creams at Geyer's. The cyclists live on ice cream. They find a place like every day.
Nice.
Well, since they overnighted, they managed to hit it twice. So just,
That's awesome.
sometimes, that direct contact, can lead to bigger things. So yeah, I got some of it, but other places in the community certainly got it too.
It's a great story.
Secondly, on the 27th, some of you have invites. Anybody that showed interest as an invite. I contacted FWC, and they put me in contact with IFAS. So they're going to come down and tell us how they do scallop surveys for preseason surveys. FWC hasn't done them in Citrus County or anywhere in the state that I'm aware of since 2019, So there's no scientific data on what the population's doing out there. So hopefully this becomes an ongoing thing. So the 27th is gonna be training. We'll do some at the chamber and some will go out on the water as well. And then we'll set up teams, with various tangents to follow that methodology and track it.
So this is May 27th?
Yes.
Okay, so I've got a BOCC meeting that day, so I guess
Yeah,
I'm
well,
out.
It starts
as a
at 9:30
volunteer.
in the morning, but yeah,
Yeah, so I'm out as a,
yeah, but if you wanted to stop by in the morning, yeah, it's fine.
I
I know how light
have
those days
development
are.
forecast tool retreat at 9 AM.
Oh, so probably not.
Yeah.
But at any rate,
Oh, well, I was
yeah, we'll
willing to pitch in.
yeah, we'll set up teams. There's been a lot of interest, 40 to 50 folks, from the fishing community, the brick and mortar tour companies, and some just, citizens in the community as well.
Is this something that you might want us to maybe get out through PRT partners and from a mailing
Yeah, it
announcement
is that
standpoint?
Yeah, I got it.
that you guys
sent it to me,
pop
and
it
I'm gonna
out.
make
Oh,
sure
okay,
it's on
okay.
PIT.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
so, yeah, I mean, it's open and then we'll set up teams. My concern is, just anything where you get into it, with tourism, you get some people say, there's no scalps, we don't need more tourists, and they're already chiming in on that. And then there's some of the fishing charter captains are, well, I don't know what the issue is, I got my limit every day last year, twice a day. And it's like, well, I don't know where the hell you were, but,
20 feet of water.
well, then they weren't snorkeling. But anyway, yeah, so, I want to have it a robust enough methodology that we can bypass any biases.
Okay.
And we'll probably do some double counting and cross-hatching. So, at any rate, so that's what I've been doing in my free time.
And I would say Mr. Ingles, he's quite frequent on interviews, and sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and I'll spot him, getting interviewed once again, and I'm like, man, this is like local superstar, movie star here. So anyway, I'm joking, but I want to say I appreciate you and your efforts and your advocacy to the local to the destination, because you have a lot of information. Being a member of Visit Florida, a board member, is huge for our county, and it's something important, and it kind of gives us our destination a larger voice. So I just wanted to just publicly thank you for that.
I wanna jump off that a little bit. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but somebody told me when I was in the Manatee Center that it was your idea to do the visual of the punch bowl of the manatees and the shoreline when the architect first went through.
Nah, when the creative ideas aren't mine.
Okay.
I was responsible for the fundraising.
Well, that's important too. But when you're doing the visitor center,
Yes.
go look at that. And one of the things that happens when you bring in folks that aren't from our town and don't know us well, they'll have great architectural and colors and all those things, but they won't get to the essence of the story. Whoever it was that figured out that when you walk into that gift shop and you're also in the fishbowl down in Homosassa and the shoreline is above you, there has to be a way to create, in one of the corners, a scalloping experience like that, where you can visualize what the actual experience is when you come to the destination, and maybe another corner to do red fishing or something. But that's a really brilliant piece of visualization that if we can capture that in the visitor center, we would be doing well.
All right.
Speaking of, that makes me think about the experience that Mallard's is building. Are y'all up to speed on what's happening at Mallard's?
Oh.
Oh, God. So they've got that itty bitty little gun shop
Yeah.
where they're building a tourist attraction across 44. And it's slated to open in October or November.
Okay.
And it is going to draw people from outside the county.
What kind of tourist attraction?
Indoor gun range,
Oh, okay.
going out, I think it was 100 yards.
Okay.
Like
You can
it's,
contact them at Pennsylvania Avenue or something?
No, it can't be 100 yards. I'm telling you, I got 5 hours of sleep. I'm not
Yeah, no,
I'm not
that's
bright
fine.
this morning
Do
at
you have
all.
a contact you could share with us?
I do.
Wonderful, thank you.
do. He's out of the country right now, but I need to text him to get another meeting with him, so I'll give him a heads up on that. But it's the Damrons, and
Okay.
he and his son have all of these taxidermy things that they've hunted all over the world. And there's gonna, in the great room, there's gonna be all kinds of, like, basically a mountain with goats on it and things that are all taxidermied, but I want to say the most expensive gun he has is, again, I may be misplacing zeros because I'm not real bright. I swear it's like $500,000 or something. It was a huge amount of money for a gun. And I know I'm wrong, so don't quote me on
No,
any
no.
of the numbers.
I just wrote them down.
Yeah,
Do they have a,
just let's just say it's Mac Daddy.
do they have
It's-
a point blank room? I would be good at that.
And there's gonna be, it's VIP experience, you could have a VIP card, I mean, it's a full, basically, country club almost indoors,
Okay.
with all kinds of different indoor ranges, archery, gun sales, pub.
Well, that's definitely a big
Because-
attraction to many, and archery especially is a huge, huge
And
piece of
incredibly,
business.
incredibly professionally done and high class.
And those
Like,
are-
you have a card, and the moment you walk into the bar section and order a drink, your card no longer works at any of the ranges.
Yep. Can't do it.
And
You have
those
to lock
are-
up your gun to be able to
that's a
do that, too.
Brilliant example of showing, number one, at the core of the culture of this county. As
Yeah,
long-
hunting and fishing.
That goes 100 years of that.
Yeah.
But it's also shows that progress is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
If it's done right, if it is simpatico to what people want to stay here, it's like, whoa, that's the kind of stuff we should be doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, anything else?
Florida's proposing a tax break for purchase of guns and ammunition.
And on that note, is there anything else?
Public.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Again, 5 hours. Open to the public, anyone? Anyone? Interpretive dance?
Anything
Alright.
from Crystal River?
All
Okay.
right, we're adjourned.